I'm 33 years old and I'm finally financially secure. But let me tell you, the road to get here was filled with ups and downs. It was paved with a bunch of dumb mistakes made in my 20s that cost me thousands of dollars, years of stress, and so much FOMO. I constantly felt behind. I was anxious about money all the time, and honestly, I didn't think I'd ever get ahead. So, I'm about to give you the exact financial roadmap I wish someone had handed to me when I was 22. And this isn't about being extremely frugal or giving up every single thing you love. This is a real no BS guide to building actual wealth in your 20s without sacrificing your life to do it. So, if you don't want to wake up at 30 drowning in regret, pay attention. Let's start with the first and biggest mistake I made. The single most dangerous thought you can have in your 20s is, I'll start investing later. I told myself this for years. I was getting my first paychecks and it wasn't a lot, but I figured retirement was a million years away and the little I was making would hardly make a difference. This was the first time I was living on my own and having to handle a budget all by myself. I can totally acknowledge my own privilege and admit that I was grown accustomed to the life provided for me by my parents. But let's face it, the life of a financially secure couple in their 50s is very different from a young new graduate making an entry-level salary in the most expensive city in the world. I bought all the new gadgets, I went out to expensive dinners. I didn't realize how to build a proper money foundation in order to afford these things the right way. And here's why that was a complete catastrophe. I didn't understand the basics physics of money. I didn't get compound interest. So think about it this way. If you start investing just $100 a month at age 25 with a standard market return, you could have hundreds of thousands of dollars by retirement. But if you wait until you're 35 to start, you'd have to invest way more each month just to catch up. Why? Because the money your money earns starts earning its own money. It's a snowball effect. And my delay cost me the easiest, most powerful years of growth. The roadmap I wish I had wasn't about investing thousands right away. It was simply just about getting started. Even if that's $50 a month, the most important thing you can do in your 20s is build that habit of automatic investing. Set up automatic transfers to an investment account for the day you get paid. The goal isn't to get rich overnight. The goal is to get that snowball rolling down the hill. Your future self will thank you. For most of my 20s, I refused to have a budget. It felt messy. It felt difficult. I was already stressed about how much my rent was living in New York City, and the thought of seeing all the numbers laid out in front of me just really freaked me out. So my brilliant financial plan was to just check my bank account and hope for the best, especially when rent was due. Actually, when rent was due, I was avoiding my bank account like the plague. Do you have any idea how much anxiety that causes? That constant feeling of not knowing where your money is going or swiping that card and just praying it goes through? It's exhausting. So here's the reframe that changed my life. A budget is scary, but the unknown is way scarier. When I finally sat down and made the plan, the weight just lifted off my shoulders and I could finally spend guilt-free without stress because I knew I could afford it. Before that moment, every purchase was a knot in my stomach and a lump in my throat. Here is exactly what I did. The roadmap here is the 50-30-20 rule. It's the simplest way to start. You take your after-tax income and divide it 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. Needs are the non-negotiables, so rent, utilities, groceries. Wants are your fun money, dinners out, vacations, hobbies. And that 20%, that's your ticket to freedom, paying off debt, and investing in the future. This simple framework gives you control. You're not just guessing anymore. You know how much you can spend on a weekend trip or a new pair of shoes because you already planned for it. That 30% wants category is your permission slip to actually enjoy your life, while the 20% make sure you're building your future without feeling behind. Budgeting isn't about restriction, it's about being intentional. Again, I am totally acknowledging my privilege here, but I'm going to teach you what I saw my peers do. I did not graduate with student loans, and that is a gift that I'm going to continue giving to my own children. And I had the fear of Dame Ramsey put into me by my high school guidance counselor, so I always paid my credit cards off in full. Luckily, personally, I never struggled with debt. That is a total privilege and very unusual, I know. But I have watched incredibly smart women, ambitious, educated, carry debt that high-key limited their choices. So if you're in your 20s watching this, we need to talk about it. There are most commonly two kinds of debt that people misunderstand completely. First, there's student loan debt, which people just accept as a permanent part of life, like some weird, annoying subscription that you just can't cancel. Second, there's credit card debt. My girlfriends treated their credit cards like an extension of their income. That fancy dinner that they couldn't really afford, they just slapped it on the card. I personally paid it off and then cried at the end of the month when I had no money left over. So trust me, just because I didn't have the debt doesn't mean I was much better. But the debt is a trap. The more debt you have, the more you're just treading water instead of swimming forward. That credit card interest, often over 20%, is like compound interest working in reverse. It's actively working against you. Making minimum payments is like trying to bail out a sinking boat with a teaspoon. You're working really hard, but barely keeping your head above water. The roadmap I want you to have follows this. Once you have your emergency fund set up, make getting out of high interest debt your absolute number one priority. Forget about the Roth IRA for a minute. Every extra dollar you have should go towards annihilating your credit card balances. The feeling of freedom you get when you're no longer sending a huge chunk of your paycheck to a credit card company is incredible. It's like giving yourself a massive raise. For student loans, I wish everyone in their 20s could understand that even paying a little extra each month can shave off years off the repayment schedule and save you thousands in interest. Yes, student loans are different from credit card debt. They're often lower interest and sometimes strategic if you can leverage your education into a higher paying career. But even paying a little extra can shave years off your repayment and save thousands. You have to learn how to separate the good debt, like mortgage or student loans, from the bad debt, like the high interest rate credit cards. Your mission is to eliminate bad debt as aggressively as humanly possible because that is the single biggest anchor dragging you down. For the first few years after college, I was actually pretty good at saving money. I had a few $1,000s stashed away in my savings account at my big name bank, so I felt really responsible. It felt safe. And there were two main problems with that. The first was that it was all mixed in with my other money saving goals. So I could easily spend what was supposed to be my emergency fund while paying for vacation that I thought I had saved up for. The second problem was I was earning something like 0.01% interest. So basically nothing. Meanwhile, inflation was chipping away at its value every single day. Let me be clear, by keeping my money safe in a traditional savings account, I was actively getting poorer every year. My money was losing its purchasing power. It wasn't safe. It was a guaranteed loss. And this is the roadmap I wish I understood. There's a massive difference between saving for emergencies and investing for the future. First, your emergency fund, which should be 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses, needs to be safe, but it also needs to work for you. Instead of a normal savings account, it belongs in a high yield savings account. These are mostly online banks that offer way higher interest rates, which helps your emergency fund actually keep up with inflation. And it keeps your money separate from your normal spending or other savings goals, so you don't feel guilty spending money on a big purchase. Second, any money for long-term goals like retirement absolutely cannot sit in cash. It has to be invested. The simplest, most effective way for people to start is just with a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Don't let the name scare you. All it is a single fund that lets you own a tiny piece of 500 of the biggest companies in the US. It's diversified and historically delivered solid long-term returns. You can buy these funds through a retirement account like your 401k or Roth IRA. And if your employer offers a 401k match, you must contribute enough to get the full match. It is literally free money. Not taking it is like actively turning down a pay raise. So speaking of pay raise, have you ever gotten a raise and immediately think, awesome, now I can afford a nicer car, or finally I can move into that more expensive apartment? I did. At 27, I got a decent promotion and a 10% raise. Want to know what I did? I almost immediately upgraded my lifestyle. Some examples were I started shopping at Nordstrom instead of Zara, and I upgraded my at-home manicures to a full-on spa day, mani-pedi Botox situation. So I was making more money, but my financial situation hadn't improved one bit. I was still living paycheck to paycheck, just a fancier version of it. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is the silent killer of wealth building. It's the natural tendency to increase your spending as your income grows. You get a raise, and instead of building wealth, you just inflate your lifestyle. It's a treadmill that keeps you from ever truly getting ahead. Here is the most powerful cheat code of this entire roadmap. The next time you get a raise, just pretend it never happened. The moment you find out you're getting more money, log onto your payroll system and automate the transfer of that amount directly into your investment account or your high yield savings account. So if you get a $300 month raise, that's an extra $300 a month that is now automatically buying your future freedom in that S&P 500 index fund. It is so much easier in this phase of life too when you have limited responsibilities, like you don't have home ownership or kids to pay for yet. By paying yourself first, you are completely sidestepping the temptation to spend it. You never even see the money come into your checking account, so you don't miss it. This one habit is how you break the cycle. It allows you to enjoy your current lifestyle while your wealth grows like crazy in the background. And it is the single most effective way to guarantee that as your career grows, your wealth is going to grow even faster. I totally get it. It's fun to upgrade a bit as well, and that's okay. But please, just for your own sake, save like at least half. Thank me later. So now I have a question for you. Based on these 5 mistakes, what is the one thing that you know you need to change starting this week? Is it finally setting up a real budget, automating your savings, making an extra payment on that credit card? Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear what your first step is going to be. And if this roadmap was helpful, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for more no BS financial advice. Looking back from 33, I do not regret the fun I had in my 20s. I regret the constant nagging anxiety that came from not having a financial plan. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Start small, be consistent, and automate everything you can. The habits you build today are the foundation of the freedom that you're going to have in your 30s and beyond. So don't wait to get serious about this stuff. Your future self is counting on you, and trust me, they're going to be so incredibly grateful that you started now.